Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director, and I am joined today from a planet very far away. he's out on a business trip. Looks like, is that planet Earth behind you, Tate, that's a little bit in the background, or do I need to learn more about my solar system?
Well, there's been a lot in the news lately about the footage that they've gotten from Mars. So somewhere out in the Tatooine planet, those that know the Tatooine system, somewhere out there.
Very impressive. Hey, Tate, last week, obviously, we didn't have a show. It was like Groundhog Day every day, but it was snow days. No practice, no games, tournaments being pushed back. It was like the same story every day. So we had to halt for a few days, but now we're back.
No doubt about it. And, I know it was frustrating, but we talk about it all the time. That's one of the things with athletics. You got to learn to adapt, overcome. Sometimes game plans don't go as planned, and you gotta do something different. So the good thing is nobody was allowed to get in the gym and shoot. Nobody was getting an upper hand on anybody. Nobody was getting in the wrestling room. So, just another example of, I think our coaches did the best with the hand they were dealt. And here we are. We're finishing up district tournament and getting ready for the state wrestling tournament, individual tournament. So crazy week, but it's been a crazy past 12 months.
No doubt about it. It's almost like some things happened this week. We'll get into basketball with games being scheduled and moved during the game. It almost seems like we're old hat at changing some of these things. So I appreciate the coaches and administrators and fans and players being so willing to be so flexible, and we're moving right along. Hey, I was going to ask you this, Tate. I consider you our resident expert when it comes to wrestling and wrestling, both, either one.
And there is a difference.
There's a big time difference. So my thought was this: we moved back wrestling for a week, and at the time of this taping, we're a day away from the individual starting there in Chattanooga. We'll have Fairview and Nolensville starting off tomorrow, again, at time of the taping here. But when you're talking about weight classes and those kind of things, that's got to be especially tricky for our wrestlers.
Yeah, and I talked to Coach Miller about that this Saturday on the radio show. It is. Now, the weight, the amount of weight that you can lose now is a little bit different back than in the old days, but still it's much more regulated, right? But and it's tricky, especially right now, but that's what he said. These guys are, my guys are, or our guys are disciplined guys, right? They're used to being disciplined. Everything they've gone through to have this wrestling season this year, they were not going to let being off last week jeopardize that. So it was just one more week of toughing it out and being disciplined and following their diet and working. But you're right. That was the first thing that went through my mind too, because when you get there, you don't have a whole lot of time if that scale goes up. Well, I guess that they don't use those anymore. They use the electronic. But yeah, that was what I thought too. And I thought it was a great answer. Hey, our guys they're disciplined, they're dedicated, they know what to do. It's just one more week. They'll be fine.
Well, the days of sucking on ice and running around with the Glad bag over the top of you, that's probably over, which is a good thing, right?
Yes, that needed to go away about 20 years before it did. So anyways, glad we finally did it. That only belongs in MMA and maybe Rocky movies.
And Vision Quest, is that?
Yes. Hey, I can remember Coach Dalton getting on a scale in my boxers, and Coach Dalton said I was a pound over, and he said, "Okay, good. Don't eat anything till 3:00, and you'll be good." Don't know how that was good for a 16-year-old, but
yeah, glad those days are over. They needed to be. Hey, let's talk about our teams and individuals who had some great accomplishments. Tate, no surprise, Fairview won the region championship. They had 7 individual region champions, 12 advancing to the state. Nolensville, 10 qualified for the state, 2 of which were region champions. So my expectation, Tate, is a repeat from the duels that Fairview gets it done once again in Chattanooga?
I think you could be onto something there. You nailed the last one. Coach Derrick talked about it. He got the monkey off his back. He said you put a little added pressure on him, but he kind of liked that. I said, hey man, he's confident. He believes in the Yellow Jackets, right? So I think you're right. I think they could go up there, and that's tough to do. You know, just because you win the duel doesn't mean you go up and get a clean sweep. It is different. But I think you're right. I think they got a really good chance to win it, and that'd be pretty cool. You know, you go all those years and don't have a state championship, and then you win two in the same year. Pretty strong.
Well, and that's where I think their strength, Coach Derrick would tell you, if you said, hey, you're going to win one of the two, he would have probably said the traditional, which is this coming week, the individual team championship. So I like their chances with Riley Bennett and Jacob Clevenger, and look out for Mr. Lippincott out there at Nolensville too, to make some noise.
No doubt about it. Yeah, Coach Malzoni's done a really good job there, continuing that program, and we'll be well represented in AAA for sure.
AAA, Region 7 AAA results. Summit comes out on top. Brentwood finishes second, over 100 points. I said that correctly. Over 100 points behind Summit. Franklin third, Page fourth, Indy fifth, Ravenwood sixth in the 10-team competition. The thing that I thought stood out, Tate, and I realized that, with Spring Hill in our district or in our region, not really the same level of programs, and the metro teams got started late. But nonetheless, 26 of the 28 state berths come from Williamson County. Summit with 9 qualifiers, Page 5, Franklin 4, Brentwood 3, Independence 3. And I'm telling you now, Big Ryan Smith from Summit, that dude's on a roll. I'm expecting to see a heavyweight championship from Mr. Smith.
He's got a chance. 30 wins, 1 loss. We're not counting the loss. It was on a disqualification for a illegal slam. We don't think it was an illegal slam. Kind of reminded me of that one loss, Skylar Coffey. You remember that?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that's.
Yeah, we didn't count that one. We're not counting this one.
Centennial Ravenwood with a wrestler that qualified as well. Alex Abels, 3-time region champion now for Centennial. I certainly believe he has the shot to make some noise too. In fact, Alex was the most outstanding wrestler at the region tournament for the upper weights. Lower weights, Jarvis Little from Summit was the outstanding wrestler. So looking forward. It was too bad we had to wait a week, but good things come to those who wait, Mr. Mathews. So we're excited about it. Can't wait.
Yeah, and you could tell all the coaches were glad they did it. You know, it was going to be a nightmare trying to get that done. You know, it just couldn't be done. So glad they did it, and it's going to be fun. You know, the thing that I thought was interesting, Brentwood was second place, you said, by 100 points. I think they have 2 seniors on the whole team. They are so young. But then when you start looking at Summit, who dominated that region this year, 7 region champions, 2 runner-ups, because they're only taking the top 2 this year, which, you know, it's already a heck of an accomplishment to make it to the individual state wrestling tournament. You make it when they're only taking 2, that's a really big deal. But out of those 9, so 7 region champions and 2 runner-ups, only 2 of those guys are seniors.
Wow.
Summit's really young, including Mr. Smith. So I'd say they're going to be really good again next year. And, I thought it was cool. Coach Tomlinson getting the Franklin program fired back up. You mentioned, I think they have 4 going, right? And that was a really cool story about the way Owen Gobble ended up coming back. They've set it up now where you can win your way back through and have a true second place match. In the old days, he wouldn't have gotten that chance. So we're sending 2 in the 113. And with Jarvis Little, what a big win that was. I think that's part of why he got outstanding wrestler, but it's going to be exciting for sure.
Hey, let's talk a little basketball. We're in tournament time. So the plan was to preview the tournament. At the time of this show, we're going to see what kind of experts we are when it actually comes out. We're down to the final 4 in 11 AAA. We did come up a few games short. It was really interesting how this happened. We only had a game or 2 COVID-wise to make up, but the snowstorm of 2021 actually made it a situation where the final date of the season couldn't be played. But here's the good news. The standings ended up pretty much the same. It would have taken an upset or two for there to be any movement in the standings. So I credit the coaches for, one, making up those COVID games that they could make up and coming up with a plan that even if games were missed, you would have the best teams ranked properly. I went back and looked at this, and I know I get on my buddies there at 9 AAA. John Wild and Summit ended up 10-4. If they would have been in 9 AAA, they would have ended up 6-9. Now, that's an extra game. I know you're thinking 10-4 is 14, 6-9 is 15. Well, one of the games that they didn't get to would have actually been a forfeit according to the 9 AAA rules. And you know who that hurts? If Summit finishes 6-9 and they finish, say, 6th, and they have to play number 3, that punishes number 3. So the plan our coaches came up with was a great plan. I was proud of the way they handled that, and it led into the tournament with the appropriate seeding because, Tate, sure you check this out, all the higher seeds won first-round games, boys and girls side, that doesn't happen a lot.
Done. That's right. Means we got it right. I'm sure you had a big part in that too. Helping those guys with that. Been a busy couple of weeks for y'all, but you're right. I'm glad they did it that way. You know what I'm saying? You wanted them to. We needed to get as close to the correct picture as we could.
Tate, let's talk about the girls' side. It started off on Sunday. Yes, I said that correctly. Sunday for the first round of the district, and this is where it's just started to get crazy. So Independence and Centennial, they had a coin flip. Actually, wasn't a coin flip. They both had one win against each other, but you go winning percentage, which put the game at Centennial, even though Independence was playing better. It looked like they were going to play the game at Centennial. The campus at Centennial was a little icy on Sunday. So about 3 hours before the game, the coaches, administration, they get together, talk to the officials, move the game to Independence, and Tate, it was not the only game that ended up getting moved to Independence. We'll talk about the Franklin-Dixon.
Yes, can't wait.
But that game was originally scheduled. Centennial made the move. No problem making the move. Independence comes out on top 37-12. I was very happy with Coach White. She stepped in very admirably this year at Independence. Obviously, Coach Simmons, Centennial had a tough year, but it was hard not to be happy for Coach White for them to get that win. Unfortunately for them, the following night, they go to number 1 Brentwood, and their season ends 76-21. Sydney Ryan, Amelia Osgood led the Bruins with 26 and 24 respectively. But again, great job, Independence, being willing to take that game. And then for Coach White and Independence to come out with the win, I thought made it extra special.
Yeah, one more game to get to play together, and that was the one they knew they needed to win. So, okay, Coach White's going to handle it the right way. We know that. And you're right. I think she deserves, and I know she has from Dr. Patton and the people at Independence, but she deserves a lot of credit for, she had no idea that's what she was going to be doing this winter. And but she's a school person, and I thought it was awesome. I think she got the most out of that team she can get.
No doubt. No doubt. I think they're positioned to be a team that improves moving forward. Page number 2, 72 over Dixon County's 43. That was the 2 versus the 7. Here's what stood out to me, Tate, about this game. Lily Wilkin, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Brayley Bushman, 13.6 steals, 5 assists. Sadie Porter, 12. Mary Pike, 10. They score 72 points, and we did not mention first-team all-district Mackenzie Cochran, which to me is scary, that they've got that many people who can contribute. Obviously, Mackenzie's a great player. Doesn't mean she didn't play well that night. She just didn't score like she normally does. She gets, I think, 4 points, and they still score 72. Coach Brock and the Patriots are rolling.
Yeah, I thought they're the ones that you got to be, them and Brentwood. I think they can probably score in bunches, probably better than the rest of them, right? So either one of those, you get them in the tournament and they're hot like that, that's pretty scary. So I think they could make a lot of noise in this tournament for sure.
Spring Hill 52, Franklin 39. That was the 3-6 game. That's one I thought we might sneak out. Franklin playing a lot better towards the end of the year. In talking to Coach Johnson before that game, he felt like if they could avoid one of those stretches where they didn't play well, they've had like 5 and 6 minute stretches. Well, they had one. 13-1, they get outscored in the third quarter, and that ended up really being the difference. Again, Spring Hill 52, Franklin 39. Great year, great career for Kate O'Neill. It ended in that quarterfinals game. She ended up with 13 points. Kate was a double machine this year for Franklin. Again, I think if you look forward, brighter days ahead for Coach Johnson and Franklin.
I agree, and same deal. Just, you got to have somebody there for a while. Coach Johnson's not going anywhere. So he's got the program on the right tick. The record the overall record won't reflect it. But Kate O'Neill had as fine of a career at Franklin as anybody's had in the district. Really happy for her. You're right. Double machine. It was automatic.
Summit, the 4 seed, 65 over Ravenwood, the 5 seed, 53. That was a game that I attended. To me, it was a great atmosphere. And the thing I always notice about the tournament, it's like it comes rushing back, and you remember this as a person that's been involved, the intensity changes. That game was so competitive and so intense from the get-go that you could really feel it in the gym. And really the start that Summit had, Coach Wild Spartans, 11-0 start to start that game. Ravenwood just couldn't overcome it. They'd cut the lead down. It would get stretched back out. But it was a great game. It was a very competitive game. Coach James doing a great job there at Ravenwood. They only continue to get better. But it was that 11-0 start for Summit behind Delaney Knowles 18, Ellie Colson 12, Claudette Runk 10, Bergen Ali 9. And be careful out there. It's the healthiest that Summit has been all year, and that's going to be dangerous when you're talking Coach Wild and his experience in the postseason.
He's kind of been saying that under the radar for a while now, hadn't he? If we can get healthy come tournament time, and he mentioned a big part of it when Claudette Runk was able to step up and play some minutes due to injury. The development of her, I can remember him saying that the development of Claudette was going to pay big dividends come tournament time when they can all be on the court together.
Reagan Grimes led Ravenwood with 21. Lexi Erickson, her career comes to an end. One of the best players in the area for years. And I know a lot of people are glad she's finally graduating, not because she's not a great young lady, Tate, but they got tired of watching Lexi score, over 1,000-point score, all-time leader in three-pointers made there at the school. So great career for Lexi, and looking forward to seeing what she does moving forward.
Yep, you're right. She's up there with the greats of the Lady Raptors, and the only people not glad to see her go are the Raptors, because you're right. She was and she did it the right way too. The other coaches really had a lot of respect for her. Played the right way. Always had a good attitude out there, which you don't always see all the time now. But she will be missed. She's up there with the Lady Raptor greats for sure.
Let's move to the boys' side. 8-9 game, and again we go Bizarro world again, which again I love your background. I love the sun shining on your dome from time to time, because it kind of meets the theme of what's going on here. Dixon.
Well, I tried to move it, but I can't. The sun keeps following me, so I apologize.
When you're in outer space, these things happen, man.
That's right. I mean, the sun. You're closer to the sun out there. All right. Sorry.
Dixon County, Spring Hill. Scheduled to play Sunday at Dixon County. Spring Hill couldn't do it. Conditions a little bit too tough. They agree to move that game to Franklin on Monday, because the winner of that game is going to get Franklin. So they're going double dip. Winner plays at 4:30, or excuse me, they play at 4:30. The winner is going to get Franklin at 7. Well, that happens. Dixon County wins 51-40. The game starts at Franklin. Franklin's up 30-5. And then what happens? Some type of scare with a gas leak there at the school. And I don't laugh because it's funny. It's because, can you believe this is happening? Yes, we can believe it's happening. So what ends up happening is Franklin, they get a hold, and I give Dr. Patton a lot of credit. Independent stepped up. Dr. Weiss out there as well. They met the Franklin contingent out there, got them in the gym, set the gym up, got the score vision boards going, and they just continued to play that game. We had the NFHS network. We had to stop one feed, start another feed out at Independence. We got that game back on NFHS. Franklin rolls 78-28, but I'm telling you, it's like none of us were really phased. It was like, oh, okay, we just got to stop the game with the score 30-5, pack our stuff up, grab a few balls, and head out to Independence High School to finish this thing up. What a wild chain of events, Tate.
Needless to say, I'd say you've never seen that before in all your years of basketball games, right? Hey, here was the thing that I was curious about. I know, like in football, you have to have a half of football. Like when there's been times when the weather delays, is there a score, or was there a halftime? Was there any talk of it's 30-5, right? They just played their second game. I'm sure they were glad to get a little rest on the change of venue, but like, was there any set of conditions where they do not finish that game?
You know, I thought that when I saw the score, because I was actually at the Summit Ravenwood game. I thought that might happen, to be honest with you. But I talked to Coach Powis out there, the athletic director at Dixon. He just had a great attitude about it, said, look, no problem, whatever it takes. We want to do what's best for the district. Really appreciated their attitude. But, you know, I thought it was in play. But I will say this, at least going to Independence, Dixon got a little closer to home. Drove right up.
Yeah, without a doubt. They're right there by 840.
So it worked out great for them. If you're going to change, at least they moved to Independence. Reed Kemp, 19. Aiden Smiley, 16. Taylor Spirito, 10. Tom Fortner off the bench with 16, all in the third quarter there for Franklin. Brentwood, number 2, over number 7 Summit, 39-32. Unfortunately, Coach Fay was out for that particular night, again, adding to the craziness of the year. It was a low-scoring slugfest, just like Brentwood likes. It's 17-5 after the first quarter. Summit battles back to 32-25, but really that start behind John Windley's 19 was just too much for Summit to overcome, Tate.
Yep, and I think more than anybody, Brentwood is the one that can play. They can play those low-scoring, as you mentioned, slugfest, and also the high-scoring games probably better than anybody. I think they're the ones that can adapt to those two types of games the best. And, you know, it's tournament time, and you know what's happened in Coach Shirley's tenure there. This is usually when they start, you know, picking off some of the people that they fell to earlier in the season. Don't be surprised if they don't end up going to Murfreesboro.
Ravenwood, the 3 seed, and what a lot of people thought would be the best game of the night, but really Ravenwood dominated from the beginning of the game, 58-44 over number 6 seed Centennial. Ravenwood led by first team all-district performer Nick Dang, second team all-district Noah Clifford. Noah had 17, Ben Bongo with 10 for Ravenwood. The career of Patrick Garrett ends. What a great career for that young man. 20 points on 6 threes for Coach Moore and Centennial. Again, another program that you take a look and say, hey, it's not a stretch to look to next year and think there's going to be a huge difference in terms of the results they get.
No doubt about it. And remember, he didn't even get time. Coach Moore didn't even get time due to the pandemic, to no spring practice, no summer practice. There will be a big uptick over off of Mallory Lane in 2021-22 for sure.
Tate, our final matchup, it was really the best game of the night, boys or girls. Page 58, the 4 seed over Independence 55. And Tate, this week's gym you're going to like. The first time since 2014 that Page has advanced past the first round in the district. And that win was on February 11, 2014, over Marshall County. So it was AA. They win 92-86. They eventually finished third in the district tournament. They lost their first round region game. Not coached, by the way, by Jeremy Qualls. But here's something that's interesting.
Was it Tiger?
This team, that's right. Page plays Franklin next. Franklin, coached by Jason Tigert, who was at Marshall County, not that year, but that's like the 7 degrees of Jeremy Qualls.
Yes. I like that. That's a good game.
No doubt. No doubt. Again, best game of the night. Hey, I did want to mention this, Tate, before we move on. We had some young ladies and coaches recognized. 11 AAA all-district team MVP was Amelia Osgood from Brentwood. The coach of the year was Miles Thrash. Reed Kemp on the boys' side. That's two of the last two players, last 4 years, Franklin MVPs. Kemp the last two, Reese Glover the previous two. Coach of the year, Jason Tigert. In AA, we had Cayman Ladd and Zoe Pillar, co-MVPs in their league for Nolensville. Chris Ladd, coach of the year. And we've been saying it. I give you credit. You've said it all year. Kelsey Gossage, MVP. Coach McGowan, coach of the year for Fairview. So congratulations to all those players and coaches.
Yep. Well deserved.
All right, Tate, let's talk a little AA before we're going to do our version of basketball pick'ems. We're bringing
I love it.
Yeah. Fairview, the girls lost in the semis. Very tough draw. They end up losing to East Hickman 42-34. It snapped a 13-game winning streak for Fairview. They had beaten East Hickman twice, but only by 2 points. So tough loss for Coach McGowan and the Yellow Jackets, but they're still alive. Again, they're playing the consolation game at the time of this taping. The boys defeated Waverly in the quarterfinals, 46-42. They move on to the region as well, and obviously looking for that 5th straight title. Nolensville, the girls are playing in the district still, rolling right along. They've got Giles County up next in the semifinals. It'll be their first game of the tournament. The boys ended their season 55-47 with a loss to Forest. So here we go, Tate. Pick'ems basketball style. Here we go. Girl,
Ready.
We've got Brentwood Summit, Page Spring Hill in the semifinals. Tell me how that plays out. Who wins those games? Who finishes third? Who finishes fourth?
Okay, give them to me again.
Brentwood Summit, Page Spring Hill.
I'm going Brentwood, and I'm going Page.
Okay. Then what happens in the third place and championship? So you've got Summit, Spring Hill in the third place game. Who gets that one?
Summit.
And then the championship game, Brentwood, Page.
Brentwood.
You know, begrudgingly, I think that's the correct word. I'm going to agree with you. Is it grudgingly or begrudgingly?
I think begrudgingly. Hopefully Lance can edit this.
Whatever you guys think. Anyway, let me dumb that down for those out there. I hate to admit it, but I'm going to agree with you, Tate. Exactly the same. Let's look at the boys' side. And to me, it gets a little tricky here. I want to see if you go with what you said earlier in the year. We've got Franklin Page, the 1 versus the 4. Brentwood, Ravenwood, Battle of the Woods, session number 3. What do you say is happening there?
I'm going with Franklin over Page, although what you mentioned earlier about the first time them being there since I think 2014, that did not go over my head. That's awesome. Great job in the first year by Coach Howard, AA, getting them done. I'm going to go with Franklin, and I'm going with, I know you think I forgot to say it, I'm going with the Fighting Pee-Witties, the Ravenwood Raptors. Noah Clifford is healthy.
So third place game then would put Page against Brentwood. Who you going with there?
The Bruins.
Your season.
The Bruins.
Okay, so we agree so far. I agree with you. Let's see what you say here. So we both are saying third place Brentwood, Franklin, Ravenwood in the final. Who you picking, Ravenwood or Franklin?
Franklin has not lost in 2021. I don't know what we're up to now. 18 wins in a row, 19 wins in a row. The last 4 times or last 3 times, a basketball expert has told me it's come down to the end of the game, a little side out inbound play. I'm telling you, the Raptors are going to shock the world.
Wow.
The Raptors win the championship game.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think it could happen. I'm going with Franklin. They've got those 6 seniors. They're rolling right now. Coach Tigert's got them going. I think Franklin hits their stride. They've been hitting their stride. They're going to continue to hit their stride. I'm going with Franklin in the championship. So that's really the only difference we have here, Tate, so far. You have Ravenwood.
That's right. That could be the separation Saturday.
All right, a couple more I want to talk about. Nolensville girls, do they win the district championship? Yes or no?
Yes.
I agree. Fairview, they take on Camden in the semifinals. Their boys do. Do they win that game and win another district championship 5 in a row?
Yes.
I agree. So, Tate, first of all, this is crazy how much we're agreeing. It comes down to one game. If they even play in the final, because like you said, don't count Brentwood out either. And hey, by the way, don't count Page out. That Page
That's
Frank
right.
is going to be a tough game too.
Noah Clifford, 20+ points.
Wow. You heard it here, folks. And by the time this is airing, some of that will already have happened. So we'll see. We'll see.
That's right.
We'll see what it looks like. Tate, listen, I appreciate it. I know you had some business you had to take care of out of town. And I don't think this is going out on a limb for me to say this. Your performance today, as always, was out of this world.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm glad I could be here. And, the wonders of technology. I mean, all the way out here, only got a bad connection one time. Appreciate you being here, letting me be here with you, and can't wait to, I think you're right. I can't wait to talk some state champion wrestlers next year. We will be back in Williamson County in studio. And so, the connection will be a little bit better, but I'm glad I could be here.
Tate, safe travels till we see each other next time.
All right, my friend. Have a great weekend. Great week.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.